Welcome to another episode of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? I'm your host, Karen E. Osborne, author of suspense and mystery books, Getting It Right, Tangled Lies, and Reckonings. And I'm so excited about my guest today because you met her well over like a year and a half ago. And you won't believe what is going on in her life, how much she has done since you last saw her. So say hi to Gail Olmsted.
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so excited to just talk to you again. Let me just tell you a little bit about her. So like I said, you met her over a year ago. And you remember she wrote the award-winning Landscape of a Marriage. That was historical fiction, which I'm writing now, Gail. I'm writing an historical fiction book right now. And it was based on the lives of real people. But since then, she wrote Miranda Writes, which is a contemporary fiction with a legal twist, and it came out in September. And now she has a sequel coming out, Miranda Nights. So we have to ask her all about that. Oh, but tell us about these new books that just kind of came.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed police procedurals, crime shows, movies, books. I really enjoy them all. And I guess in the back of my mind, I always thought, well, could I, do my usual kind of contemporary women's fiction about second chances and starting over, but can I give it a little mystery, a little legal, or a twist to it? And my best friend was an attorney, and we used to throw around legal terms sometimes, and we just like throw these terms out. And Miranda rights kept coming up, and it was like a standing joke. And I'd say, "What's Miranda writing these days?" or something. And I just pictured this character, and I wanted her to be seeking a career comeback. So she's a disgraced former state's attorney who desperately needs to kind of restart her life and her career. And so she does. And she's like right at the edge when something comes up that makes things a lot more complicated for her and number of the people around her as well. So it just, I don't know, it just grew from there. I just pictured this, kind of feisty 40-ish woman, again, looking for a career comeback. And if she found a little romance along the way, that would be fine too.
So I was going to ask you about that. So does she have a romance in the first book? Does she meet anybody interesting?
She does. She does. She has the Miranda Writes is obviously a play on words, but she is a blogger. She writes a legal blog. As her way of kind of staying in touch with the law, because like I said, she had to step down from her job because of a kind of a scandalous situation that really wasn't her fault, but nonetheless, she had to step down. So she starts blogging, and she gets, all these followers, starts a podcast, and the young man who is helping her to film it has an uncle who happens to be a very sexy architect, and Miranda meets him towards the end of the book. So it's not the primary focus, but yeah.
But it sends us into book number 2.
Yeah, which I hadn't planned to do. I think
everybody knows that, because you were sharing with me, her characters they're always demanding so much attention. So tell us what happened.
She just kept popping up, and I just felt like she needed to tell her story, or to experience a little bit more. And as I was saying before to you, I had a number of people say, "Oh, I hope there's a sequel," and no one's ever said that to me before. And I thought, a sequel? I can do that. So Miranda Nights, she's again starting over career-wise, but she's doing a late night radio talk show on legal issues. So that's where the Nights comes in. So Yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't have a cover yet. We're working on that as we speak and the final formatting, but it should be hitting the stands on July 6th.
Wonderful.
So
Do you happen to have the first Miranda book nearby that we
I
could look at?
sure,
Of course.
of course. So this is
Isn't that cool?
nice little glare here, but and this is I've had actually some readers send me pictures of themselves sitting in bed with their legs stretched out reading Miranda rights. So it's like,
And
yeah,
what's the gold seal on it? Did it win an award?
it's a reader's favorite 5-star award, but and then what was American Writing Awards. It was a finalist in women's fiction. I just managed to add that to my Amazon author page, thanks to Christopher. So shout out to Christopher. Thank you. It's always
Awesome.
so good.
This is
Yeah.
so cool. And is Miranda Wright doing well in terms of, people reading it and sales and that kind of thing?
I'm getting very good reviews, and that's always helpful. We just did a Goodreads giveaway, and giving away 5 print copies, and 4,405 people entered the contest. So the nice thing is they all will get an email yesterday or today saying you didn't win,
But
but
hey, but hi.
and I just mailed out the 5 5 winners their copies today. I just brought them to the post office this morning. So, but yeah, sales. It's tough. It's contemporary women's fiction. The competition is crazy, as you know, and I'm not making excuses. It's hard to get found. It's
It
hard
really
to.
is. It's hard to get found. And I am hoping that this will help because Gail is an amazing and wonderful writer, and it's worth your time to pick up any of her 2 books and then wait for the third one, which comes out in July, right?
Yes.
So you said to me when at some conversation we had, we chat in between these little shows, and Gail, you said to me that you were already working on a historical fiction, that you're thinking about returning back to historical fiction.
Yes. Yeah, there was in fact, I was really far along with it in terms of the research last year, but then, like I said, Miranda just wouldn't, she was
Leave
on
you
my shoulder,
alone.
tell my story. So I couldn't let go of that, but I am back working on this next book. It's based on a minor character from Landscape of a Marriage. She was a lifelong friend of Frederick Law Olmsted, kind of the other woman, at least in her mind. I think this is somebody. She was an amazing woman. Never married. Lived very independently. Was a Civil War nurse. Was a hospital administrator. She translated dozens of books for French novelists. If you put her name into Amazon, dozens of books pop up with her name. Her name is Catherine, and I'd never heard of her before. She's listed as one of the influential women of the 1800s in American history, even though she was born in Britain. So the more I heard about her, the more I saw. She's written some books of her own as well. I started doing research, and I thought she's just got an amazing story that, talk about an unsung hero. She was basically a socialite. She had family money. She could do anything she wanted, and she worked on a hospital ship in the middle of the Potomac River during the Civil War, helping the Northern soldiers, and that's where she met Olmsted. And like I said, they developed a lifelong friendship, mostly writing letters to each other. And I've read some of them, and I think she had a bit of a crush, but He was, yeah. So that's Catherine.
Yeah, that sounds very fun. But we have to wait for that one. We got to
Yeah,
get through the July
yeah.
Miranda Nights first, but that sounds really cool. So you write contemporary women, you write historical novels. What do you like reading?
I like historical fiction, certainly. I tend to gravitate towards books not necessarily written by women, but written about women. I just find their stories very interesting. A lot of them aren't things that we learned in history classes, at least not in the history classes I took. So I always find those stories interesting, the struggles and just the challenges that women have faced. And when you look at current situation, it really hasn't changed all that much in a lot of ways. But
In some ways, we're sliding backwards.
it seems that way sometimes. But I love legal fiction and thrillers. Geneva Rose is a new find of mine. I read Perfect Marriage, and the next one was One of Us is Dead, which was
What a great title.
it's great. It's like you read these titles and you just think, wow, where'd that come from? But very, very good. But the book I want to just mention quickly is historical fiction. The title is Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk. And it's it's historical fiction based on a real woman. She was the highest paid woman in advertising in America in the 30s and 40s. She worked for G.H. Macy, so it's Macy's department store. So it's based on a real woman. But her problem was, why am I the highest paid woman? Why aren't I just the highest paid, person? But Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk. It's almost like a love story to New York. And I read that somewhere, so I didn't make that up, because she's literally taking a walk through the neighborhood, Gramercy, not Gramercy Park, not Gramercy Park. Sorry, I forget. A neighborhood in kind of Midtown Manhattan that she's lived in for years. And as she's walking, she meets people. She reflects along the way about things that happened, the dissolution of her marriage, her estrangement from her son, her struggles at work. It's a friend of mine who I really, when she recommends something, I write it down. And that's the next book I get. I've recommended it to so many different people, and people are saying, like, I love it. Her name is Kathleen Rooney is the author, but it's
And say the name of the book again.
Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk.
A Walk. What a great name too. Lillian Boxfish. I love that. I love that. Well, this has been so fun. I'm so glad to reconnect with you, and I know our audience is glad to see you again. And just in case you missed the first one, if you just put Gail Olmsted in the search on my webpage, you could find the first interview and learn so much more about landscape of a marriage as well. And now, where can they find out, besides my webpage, where else can they find out about you?
My Amazon page is probably the most updated. That's where I tend, and my Facebook author page. Those are really the two that, and it's Gail Olmsted author. Nothing, surprising there. But that's where I tend to put most of the updated information. I'll be doing a cover reveal soon, I hope. For Miranda Nights, so that'll be exciting. And I'm planning some things for the launch. Not sure. I'm kind of taking a look at what worked last year for me in terms of where to put those marketing dollars. And so I'm still trying to put that all together. But I'm hoping that I can play off the fact that it is a sequel. People seem to like
that
more. I know I do. I read them all the time. So that I'll probably do a promotion for Miranda Rights right before Miranda Nights comes out.
Yes.
So
Yeah. And book clubs, if you guys have a book club out there, these
Yeah,
sound like wonderful book club books. Look how fun that
yeah,
would be
yeah.
to read both of them. Read the first one, and then you have your book club do the follow-up. And you do book club talks, right? If people
I
invite you,
do. I even if they don't invite me.
just show up.
No, I've done them on Zoom, but I love, in fact, there's a senior center near me. And last summer, right when COVID restrictions were dropping a little bit, they invited me to come and talk about, landscapes. So I, brought some book swag with me and everything. And it was just so much fun. And except for the fact that I realized that most of the book club members were not all that much older than me. So it's like, oh, senior citizens. It's like, wait a minute.
I know. That's so
Oh,
sobering. That's so sobering. Oh,
it
they're
is.
talking about me. Well, listen, good for us. Good for us, because here we are out there producing books and living a good life. We thank all of you for joining us today. Hope that you will follow Gail on Facebook, Gail Olmsted, author, that you will check out her author page on Amazon. I hope that you are following me on Instagram, Facebook, Karen E. Osborne, author, on YouTube, my website, KarenEOsborne.com. Well, find me wherever you can, and we thank you in advance. Take care, everybody.